Hey, what's going on everybody? Nick from Soho Motorsports, and today we're going to talk about Nathan's 2014 Nissan 370Z Nismo, a unicorn and the ultimate street car. What's there not to love about a 2014 Nissan 370Z Nismo? These are like unicorns, especially in this trim, white with the gray accents. So this client, Nathan, has been coming to us for a really long time. We started first with the stock motor, single turbo, and here we are now, built motor, making big power. In my opinion, and all the other guys here that have driven it, I think it's the ultimate street car. So what does this build consist of? So the main point of this build that it has, or the heart of this build, it's got our Soho HB engine package along with a Soho custom stage 3 single turbo kit with a G42 1200 compact turbo. Now it's not a small turbo, so I mean we were able to make this thing fit in the engine bay with some extensive fabrication and it still looks stock. So kudos to our fabrication department. They really killed it. They really hit it out of the park with this build as far as the fabrication side of things. It is a twin scroll setup, so this thing comes in quick. For it being such a large turbo, it does come in quick and it makes the power. Now, fueling, for this kind of setup, we did 1700cc injectors, a CGM fuel return system, and the CGM twin top hat with twin 525 Hellcat fuel pumps. Obviously, you're gonna need the fuel to make the power. This car only runs E90 Ignite, which is a higher content of E85. So this is all that it runs. So it's gonna need the volume to be able to make the power, because if it doesn't, it's not gonna make the power. So we can't do that type of power on the stock manifold. As you are aware, the stock manifold is a plastic manifold and around 16 to 17 PSI. You will start to see it burst around the seams and it'll start to leak. He's got our Soho intake manifold along with our Soho catch can. Now, he's got pretty much the Soho catalog in regards to the engine bay, so it made the power. So the other interesting thing about this build is we went with a larger radiator. So CNR makes a radiator for us. It is a really large core. We were able to make it work with AC and putting a condenser on it, so he can drive this on the street. This is the same radiator that was in Ben's 370Z Supercharged along with Nismo Bay. So this radiator does do work. It keeps the temperatures low. It is a really nice radiator. CNR did very well with this radiator. We worked with them for a few months in developing this radiator to allow it to do the cooling capacity that we wanted it to do and still be able to fit into the vehicle and not have to do heavy modifications on this radiator. Oil cooler is in this setup as well, 34-row oil cooler. Everybody is aware the VHRs do not have the best oil cooling capacity, so anytime you go force induction on a VHR, you do want to make sure that you do have an oil cooler on the setup. Now, being able to put all this power down on the dyno doesn't really equate to being able to put it down on the street. So if you have been following this car for a while, the first time that he got it back with this type of power, we went to the drag strip, first, second, third. As soon as he clicked into third, boom, input shaft broke. So this vehicle does have a Liberty Stage 1 VHR transmission build. It's got the billet input shaft and a lot of other components inside that transmission. So now he can get on it and not have to worry about breaking an input shaft. Usually the way it goes when you start making power on these vehicles, input shaft will break, then you got third gear, and then if you really throw the beans to it in first gear, you'll break first gear, just like we did on Nismo Bay. So we've been through all these processes on these cars. Stay tuned for the T56 swap stuff that we're going to be releasing here soon that will basically eliminate any of those issues as far as breaking anything. So this transmission is available to the public if you wanted to kind of get that transmission for your street car. It's going to be something that you'll be able to enjoy and not have to worry about. If you've got a sticky tire in the back, you're making big power, you got to do a hit on the street and it hooks, it doesn't break the input shaft. That billet input shaft does do work. It's worked. We've done multiple passes on this car. It does very well. It's the same transmission that's in Carl's, that big power car that we have, same transmission that's in Ben's. So transmission is a good option if you're making good power. As we work our way back into the vehicle, so from the transmission, we upgraded the drive shaft to our QA1 Soho drive shaft. It is a larger diameter drive shaft. It's a carbon fiber drive shaft. It's woven, so it's able to take the abuse and not break. Moving forward from there, he's got the Z1 limited slip differential in there along with our Soho billet differential cover. And then out from there to the wheels, he's got the Stage 5 upgraded DSS axles that basically have the larger GTR hubs to be able to handle the power. So drivetrain wise, this car can take the abuse. I mean, from the front all the way to the back, it can take the abuse. You can see in the back, we've got some Mickey Thompsons on there, radials. So it's got everything to lay down the power. And you'll see in the video, we do a couple of pulls and it hooks. I mean, it hooks and it shoots straight, which is all you can ask for when you're having big power. A lot of times when you do big power, the car can get squirrely, it can go all over the place. That's not what you want in a big power car, especially a car that weighs 3,500 pounds, 900 wheel behind that. That's gonna be very scary. So let's discuss what kind of power this car made. So we have 3 different maps on this car. And so map 1 was around 750, map 2 was around 840, and map 3, which is the big boy map, around 941 wheel at 25 PSI. So it ranges from 17 PSI to 25 PSI. So that's a big range. I mean, we're almost doing about 100 wheel every single map. And the reason why we did this is basically, you're not gonna want 900 wheel all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, some people want 900 wheel all the time. However, if you wanna do a 750 wheel, you wanna do 850 wheel, you have the option, you have the flexibility, and you do that through the steering wheel. EcuTech controls, hit the cancel button, you can switch through the maps, you can pick what map you want, and hit the pedal, and you're gone. Along with the EcuTech tune on this setup here, we have a lot of safety features included into this. We've got an air fuel safe, custom map, we have traction control custom mapping. We've got a startup map on it. I mean, we've got a lot of maps on this setup to allow this vehicle to almost have like a standalone setup, but not pay standalone money. The EcuTech computer is a very, very powerful tool if it's used properly. So we've done a number of testing with EcuTech on a number of cars and have been able to implement them on a lot of vehicles. The traction control one is really nice, but the safety features are the nicer part about the EcuTech stuff, because you can actually do like a boost cut. I mean, you can do so many things with the actual EcuTech software. So kudos to EcuTech. Thank you for providing a good software. Thank you for providing a good program for us to use on the VHR. We enjoy it. Thank you for that. Now, moving on to the rest of the vehicle, he's got the Brougham seats inside the actual car. Makes it look very nice. It still keeps that stockish look. He didn't get too crazy with it. He's got the Tesla screen in the middle. And the rest of the vehicle is still pretty much stock. There's Nismo steering wheel. Everything is there in regards to that. So this vehicle was a very fun build. We enjoyed this vehicle. He has been with us for a long time, and he's allowed us to make a great relationship and to be able to push this car to where we expected it to be, where it is now, as far as making over 900 wheels. So this vehicle was a fun build. We did appreciate it. You'll see this vehicle on a lot of events here this year, from roll racing here in the next month or so, to street car takeover, to possibly a half mile. So do keep in mind, this vehicle does currently hold the world record for the VHR standing half mile.
176.19 for Nathan.
Really?
I think we're gonna have 176.19.
He takes the VHR record.
He's boogieing.
Definitely in the power. Sounds good. Looks clean.
Something's loose on underneath this car. On that ride, it was slapping
19,
on Nathan.
So yeah, right there.
So this vehicle does have some trophies behind it as far as wins. So it's a fast car. We wanted to get a little bit more mile an hour out of it when we went to it 2 years ago in Indiana. We just weren't able to. It wasn't putting the power down. It kept spinning, it kept spinning, it kept spinning. I believe if we would have done some suspension changes, we could have been able to get a little bit more mile an hour out of it. However, it still stands to this day. So we'll try to go back out again with this car and see possibly 180. I mean, it's got the power to do it. If we can lay it down, it should do it. Nathan will be driving the car. He did drive the car when he did get that record. This car will be at a lot of events coming up here too, from Street Car Takeover to the next one here the next month. That's gonna be at Darlington. So be sure to catch this car on the streets. It's not a car that just sits around. This car does get abused. It does go through the paces. It has been through the paces. This thing has seen a number of dyno pulls, number of street pulls. This car was a Texas 2K about 2 years ago. So, I mean, it has been all over the place. And if you're in the VQ community, you are very familiar with this vehicle. So we appreciate you watching. Let's go for a ride and see what this car does.
So we're gonna do, that was map 2 before. So we're gonna do map 3, which is 900 wheel.
Ready?
Yep. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Man, I love three things in the world. I love my family, I love my work family, and I love horsepower. Oh,
Golly. That was dumb. Oh,
this car's so good.
yeah.